the remit was, it's where the Dalai Lama meets James Bond, and you'll see the Buddha-matic which we've created here in my place is really a reflection of that.
I created 5 watches representing the 5 elements: water, wood, fire, earth and metal.
The energy moves in the building. It's that east, where east meets west. It's where the buzz meets the peace as well.
Welcome to Feng Shui Life. I'm Stacy Monroe. Now, when traveling for business or pleasure, it's important to feel comfortable. Feng Shui Life traveled to England to visit a boutique hotel in London that's not only feng shuied, but a great example of harmonious hospitality.
I've trained as an architect myself, and in the 90s when we were developing property, it was just about turning properties. When we hit recession, I had to actually then ask myself, what do I want to do with my life? What's the vision of the company? And that's where it all started. So I remember going to a Feng Shui seminar where William Spear was talking about clutter and the clarity of space and the harmony of space and the people in that space. And that's where it all started from, really, the inside out rather than outside in. Well, the idea was if we start from the inside out, then we're starting with the philosophy, we're starting with harmonious space, and some of the things we looked at was what are people really annoyed about when they travel to hotels. And some of those things were, having to queue up at reception, having to ring around different departments in the hotel, etc. So the culture of the organisation had to be one where we move at the pace of the customer and not the hotel impose and box people in. We also found in the research that people were much more aware now of what they wanted, more self-navigating, and therefore we did a lot of research. So the idea was to create a space that allowed us to layer rather than a space that was full of hotel culture. So within that contemporary uncluttered space, we could layer it with some of the Feng Shui principles that we wanted to put into the hotel, that harmonise the space, harmonise the people, and give people the feeling they want rather than a bed and food and drink and all the departmentalised bits and pieces you get in hotels. The idea is that before you arrive, you can actually fill out a preference form. And that preference form will ask you what kind of water you'd like, music, aromas, etc. So you're interacting with the brand before you even get here, and it allows you to customise it a bit more. So it's like you're involved. On arrival, the first thing you'll see is that in reception as you walk in is this kind of enfilade of rooms. You've got the bar on the right, you've got Yo Sushi on the left, and it's almost this kind of transient space that you take your shoes off before you arrive. Not literally, but you leave your stuff outside. You've come from a very hard environment from the outside into a softer environment inside. And that's achieved by really getting at people's senses in a subconscious way. We've got crystals in reception. Crystals have got a very dense energy, so they kind of contract and gather you when you arrive. There are aromas, which again make you feel a certain way. Then we look at the quality of the food that we have. We have a Mediterranean menu in our bar. We have Yo Sushi in the other restaurant. Again, so what you're going to be putting into your body is important in terms of nutrition. The efficiency, service-driven, which allows the guest, again, to feel at home more than a mainstream corporate hotel, to get their way of life as they want it here sorted. So again, in a lot of hotels you'd ring reception and they'll say, no, it's a housekeeping issue, or you'd ring housekeeping and it becomes a porter, and so on and so forth. Well, we decided from the beginning not to have any of that, and to look at a holistic approach. So you ring one number, and that person, that guest service agent as we call them, will actually deal with it for you. And if they need to ring housekeeping or ring somebody, they'll do it and they'll come back to you and it's sorted. So it's this kind of seamless approach. In terms of layering in the hotel and how that affects the psyche, artwork is a very important element, and all the artwork at my hotel was commissioned 3 years ago. The concept was where East meets West, and what that really means is where cultures cross. And here it's where light meets dark, it's where soft meets hard. It's also, the remit was, it's where the Dalai Lama meets James Bond. And you'll see the Buddhamatic, which we've created here in my place, is really a reflection of that. The Evening Standard called it the 21st century guest comment book, because you've got these pieces of plastic that you can scribble on and leave messages either for us at the hotel and tell us what you enjoyed about the stay or what you didn't enjoy about the stay, so we can do something about it. Or you can leave something for your partner and say, look, I'm going to be out till midnight, look after yourself. So it's this kind of layering that allows the guest to understand what the essence of my is. And my really means your. It's your way of doing things. Because one of the things that the research showed was that guests don't really like to be told what to do and how to do it and when to do it and where to do it. So by allowing the guest to interact with the product, it feels more like theirs. What Feng Shui really means is Feng means wind and Shui means water. So wind is our breath and water is the blood that's going through our veins, and metaphorically. And so we're very much interested in Qi and the movement of Qi energy within the whole organisation and within each of our buildings. And it starts off with our own culture. And the one common theme that you'll see throughout all my hotels as we develop them is that the values of the organisation, the culture, will remain consistent. Our people understand that they need to be in tune, so they need to judge the mood. I mean, if you didn't get your wake-up call in the morning, it's no good you coming down and the receptionist with a big grin on their face saying, did you have a great stay? You really need to try and be in tune with where the guest is. You can't satisfy all customers, because if they've lost a hell of a lot of money on the stock market, whatever you do, you're not going to satisfy their mood at that time. But you can judge the mood and be very respectful of where their energy is going to go. Our identity is very strong in terms of design and Feng Shui and the culture that we have here, and we attract through our marketing and PR like-minded souls who are quite discerning. They know what they want, and therefore those people are a very important layer to the energy of the space. When we first opened the hotel, we were very kind of wary of the fact that we had low leather sofas and low tables, and would people really want to have breakfast on these things, or would they want the formal dining experience? And before Yo Sushi came to my hotel, we did have a formal dining experience. And within 6 months, I would sit in reception, which is what I enjoy doing. I sit in reception, sit in the bar, and see how people behave. And it was really interesting to see laptops with scrambled eggs and mobile phones and cigars all on low tables, and the formal experience wasn't really taken up. So we very quickly sort of shifted away from the formal to the more informal, which is what I guests really enjoy.
Well, I could certainly stay there. You'll be seeing a lot more of this fabulous hotel later on in the show. But now it's time for our FSL question. What is Qi? Is it a martial arts stance, a Mexican hot sauce, energy, or wind and water? Stay with us for the answer, and don't forget to check out our website at fengshuilife.tv for answers to other frequently asked questions.
At the water watch, the number 1, representing the north. Then the bagua with the point at the north, and the colors water and metal, who feeds the element water.
Very briefly, it is the ancient Chinese art of placement, of harmonizing the natural energy from the environment to maximize your own luck, your own life. Very short, very simple explanation. I come from a decorating background, and about 5 years ago I had a client phone me up asking me a clue in a crossword puzzle, something about some Chinese art of rearranging furniture for good luck and getting money. And I had no idea what she was talking about, and I put down the phone and said to her, "I'll phone you back, I'm busy with another client." Frantically phoned a friend of mine who'd lived in Japan for 10 years and said, "Well, do you know this Chinese decorating style of moving furniture for money?" And she said, "Oh, that must be Feng Shui." And phoned my client back and said to her, "Does this fit Feng Shui?" Spelt it out for her, and she said, "Yeah, that fits." And I thought, well, decorating style I haven't heard of, I better go and research this. And before long, the bug had bitten, and I'm 5 years down the line and no longer a decorator. To try and understand Feng Shui, I think it's a lifelong process of learning. There are various levels, there are various systems, there are various schools of Feng Shui, and I never stop learning. I study like I never studied at school. Every single day of my life I spent hours poring over books. After doing a little bit of research on what Feng Shui was all about and coming up with some very interesting answers as well as a whole lot of questions, I decided to do a couple of courses in South Africa and buy a couple of books, which I think are pretty much your commercial books that are available these days. I had a lot of questions that weren't answered, and I realized that the only way to really get to the bottom of this Feng Shui industry was to find a master. And tenacity, luck, fate, call it what you will, landed with Master Yap, and I've never looked back.
Since its popularity, Feng Shui has had the opportunity to expand outside of interior design. Now you can find these philosophies in personal collectibles. One such keepsake or souvenir is actually a useful and timely accessory.
I created 5 watches representing the 5 elements: water, wood, fire, earth and metal. For example, at the water watch, the number 1, representing the north. Then the backward with the point at the north, and the colors water and metal, who feeds the element water. And the fire watch is the number 9, represents the south, and the colors green and red, who feeds the fire. The metal, the number 7 for the west and the number 6 for the northwest, and element metal and the color brown for the earth. The earth watch with the numbers 2, 5 and 8, representing the earth, then the color brown and earth 2. Yeah. There's the yin-yang symbol, then the bagua, and the real symbol from the element.
Of course, jewelry can't change your fate, but it does make a nice gift for the Feng Shui enthusiast. And once again, the FSL question: what is Qi? A martial arts stance, a Mexican hot sauce, energy, or wind and water? We'll have the answer for you at the end of the show.
We decided to, because of the great success of the hotel and the high occupancy that we had, and the requests that we had from some of our music people, to create something bigger, something more for entertaining and having parties. So we created My Place, and My Place is a two-bedroom penthouse apartment.
Welcome back, and as promised, here's another look at my hotel. Well, your hotel, everybody's hotel. You can all stay there.
The energy moves in the building. It's where, that where east meets west. It's where the buzz meets the peace as well. So if I arrive from Hong Kong and my idea of chilling out is to go to a sexy bar where there are people from Soho that are mixing in with the My Hotel crowd, and there's great music on, and I need a triple scotch, and that's what's going to chill me out. I want to have that choice. Whereas if I arrive at midnight and I've had a full-on day and I'd like somebody to give me an Indian head massage, and I'd like to just chill out and check my email in the library or here in My Place, that's my choice again. And so it's really allowing the energy of the individual to harmonize with the energy of the space. We're very privileged here at My Hotel to have some very interesting people stay with us, interesting clients. We had Mini-Me from Austin Powers. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, and he loves My Hotel because it's his scale, and I also likes the girls in the bar. We've had Shaggy and Craig David more recently, and I think the star that we had, the star of the show, was Jennifer Lopez more recently, who took over My Place, and she's a very discerning guest, and there are certain colours that she doesn't like, and there are certain aromas that she doesn't like, but we went a long way to meet those things, and so we even perfumed the door handles for her, and the feedback I got was that she was very pleased. In My Hotel, if we look at it as a total concept, we look at well-being being the central core. So we sell bedrooms, and we have food and drink offerings, and we also have Ginger, which is a little shrine for health and well-being, we've got some wonderful therapies here. But we look at the totality of My Hotel, and it's driven by the well-being of our people and our guests. How do you experience that? Well, when you arrive, we have a bar offering, which is called My Bar, and it's very much where the outside meets the hotel, and where there's the buzz, especially in the evenings. We have Yo Sushi, which is a conveyor belt sushi bar, and that's very popular, especially with people from outside the hotel at lunchtimes. And the lower ground of the hotel is where the inner sanctuary is, and we have a library, which is for guest use only, internet access, complimentary drinks and snacks. We also have a fitness room. Bedroom areas have evolved from the basic concept of having very uncluttered, light, airy rooms with fresh flowers, which we have throughout the whole building, because again, the chi and the fresh air that comes from those is very important, and that connection too with nature. And you see that in the fish tank that we have downstairs as well as you come into the lobby, which children love to interact with. We decided to, because of the great success of the hotel and the high occupancy that we had, and the requests that we had from some of our music people, to create something bigger, something more for entertaining and having parties. So we created My Place, and My Place is a two-bedroom penthouse apartment. We've got one desk which has got all the kit, and we have DVD surround sound, and we have, you know, a dark timber flooring and light walls and mood lighting, and the choice of aroma and a kitchen pod so that you can, on your preference forms, if you want to have only vodka in your fridge or have only organics. Some people want to have Aveda products in there because at midnight they want to pamper themselves. All these elements are just raising the game of the choices. You can have a musical instrument of your choice when you arrive. You can have a goldfish if you want to have in your room. So it's really raising that whole aspect. You can have a personal butler. You can have a chef come in and cook for you. It all adds to the price tag, but somebody who's going to take My Place likes the idea, the ability to be able to do that, because some people have got the cash, but they can't find the operator to give them that level of experience. My hotel is your hotel. It's your way of doing things. We will constantly be in tune with our customers. We will constantly raise the game and the story. So the bar will not be the same for the next 5 years. So you're never going to be bored. There's always going to be the surprising alternative. And I look forward to a kindred spirit that you are visiting this hotel, and hope to meet you personally.
Great place. In fact, the cast and crew for Feng Shui Life stayed there while in London, and we never felt more at home, even though I didn't get to go. Thanks, my hotel. Now here's the answer to our FSL question, and the question was, what is Qi? Is it a martial arts stance, a hot Mexican sauce, energy, or wind and water? Well, if you guessed energy, you're correct. Now go spread some of that around. Thanks for watching Feng Shui Life. I'm Phil Guerrero.
Please refer to your manuals.